This is Goals with Soul, the podcast for visionary coaches and entrepreneurs, building your business with inspired action. In alignment with your mission and authentic message, so you can create impact for your soul clients and feel lit up every day. I'm your host, Jo Ingram, married mum of 3 daughters from London and a former ad agency director turned business coach and strategist. In Goals with Soul, we blend revenue generation with energetics, marketing strategies with pranic healing, and ambitious business goals with our soul's desires. If you're looking to build your business with less efforting and more ease, this is the podcast for you. Let's dive in. Welcome to Goals with Soul. I'm Jo Ingram, and if you, like me, have ever wondered how to put your soul into your copy to really resonate with your ideal clients so they know exactly how you help them and why they should work with you, then you are in the right place today. Nothing is more important when it comes to running an online coaching business than resonating with your soul clients. And when I created the magnetic messaging method, it was purely in service of the fact that connection is the most important thing that you can do. Getting your message right, being unique, differentiating yourself, creating offers that resonate. These are all the fundamentals that until you have them in place, pretty much everything else that you do is going to be a struggle. It's going to be harder and it's going to lack joy. Now, no one knows this better than my guest today, who is the lovely Natalie Taggart. Natalie is a life coach turned launch strategist and copywriter who helps soul-driven women put their magic into words so they can reach more of their ideal clients and have the impact that they're meant to. She speaks right to my heart about soul-driven messaging and copywriting and how that clarity and vision in your message really creates unrivaled confidence to put yourself out there and, of course, build the most phenomenal business without the burnout. You're going to learn today how to create lightbulb moments for your ideal clients, how to cast words like spells, and how to embody your future self now in your copy. I can't wait for you to dive in. Let's go. Welcome, Natalie. I'm so pleased to have you on Goals with Soul.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's awesome having you here because some of your messaging about soulful copywriting really speaks to my heart. And I'd love to know how you really got into copywriting and that whole soulful expression.
Soulful copywriting really came out of an experience that I had when I realized that copy is a way for you to bridge your soul with your ideal client's soul. And it's that connection, that like soul connection that you create with your audience that can really help you make more sales, obviously, grow your business, which is great, but also communicate yourself and I know we talk a lot about messaging, your message, and what you do for people, the impact that you can have on their lives in a way that's really clear, really powerful, and immediately recognizable. So your people can find you. Oftentimes I feel like, especially more soulful, spiritual entrepreneurs, we kind of shy away from the idea of marketing. We feel like it's, we don't want to be sleazy. We don't want to be pushy. We don't, it's like that's for other people. But what I discovered was that marketing and copy specifically really can change lives. Like if you're connecting with your person and you have something that they really need, you can change their life.
So true. And I know when I work in the unique brand messaging space and that clarity drops in for people and they're like the light bulb moment. They're like, oh, this is who I am in the world. This is the type of coach I am. And this is how I articulate my business. I get it. The next question is often, how do I express it? How do I take all this goodness and this clarity and this confidence and actually talk to people in a way that they're really going to understand what's in my heart? And then we hear the word copywriting and it's like, dun, dun, dun. Yeah. And then people lose their nerve again. It's like, oh, well, that must be magical mystery stuff that I couldn't possibly learn, right? Is that the reality?
It's not the reality. It's the assumption and preconceived notion. One of my favorite ways to describe copy is that if you can talk, you can write copy. Good copy is sounds like yourself. Like there's no kind of uptight, you don't have to get it perfect. If you're clear on who you're talking to, if you're clear on what their experience is, and we'll get into this later, but yeah, I totally agree that it can feel like this huge, intimidating, like perfectionism driven thing. And it really doesn't have to be if you just write like you talk, and that's going to bring so many more people to you.
I love that. And I love the authenticity angle on it and how you need to just bring yourself into your copy, into your writing. And I think what really keeps people stuck, and it's certainly been something that I've struggled with in the past, is the idea of talking and being myself isn't going to sell. And isn't that why I'm doing the copy? Because it's my business. And you move between this idea of writing these epic, beautiful pieces where I just share
essay of all your feelings, and
yeah, it's like my diary, but in public, versus that bro marketing, ClickFunnels style stuff that's hyper planned to the nth degree, all for psychology of sales. But I know from the fact that you call it soulful sales that is not where you're going to go with this. And I'd love to know what space we should be occupying between the two, assuming that there is a space between the two.
There is a space between the two. And that's such a good question. So I want to think about it as a spectrum, right? Like you say, we have this kind of over here. And if you're listening to this, you can't see my hands. I have them kind of spread out like shoulder width. So on one side, we've got, that kind of flowy, like I'm just writing my feelings and like using my content as a journal. And then we have the bro marketing, ClickFunnels, kind of sleazy feeling all the way over here. And in the middle is what I call soul marketing and soulful copy. And that is just best of both worlds, right? Because we don't talk about this a lot, but there is actually a lot that we can learn from the bro marketing world. Like there are I was shocked when I started working with, 7-figure entrepreneurs, and they were, using some of this stuff because it works. And we can take those principles and that advice from the bro marketers and kind of make it our own, make it soulful, use it in service, not just to drive a Lamborghini. So the best way I know to do that, and I think this isn't talked about enough, is getting really specific. And I know this is also something that soulful entrepreneurs really struggle with, is like getting really, really specific on your ideal client and their day-to-day reality as it relates to the problem that you solve. So say you're an adrenal health and hormone coach and you help women like balance their hormones so they can lose weight. And your ideal client is, which is a real example, a client actually. And, she's feeling tired. She's feeling puffy. She wakes up in the morning and she doesn't recognize herself. She is picking fights with her husband because she doesn't feel confident in her body. Like if you can really deep dive into like those instances, like the exact types of things that are happening in her life, and you weave that into your content, it's going to be so, so compelling. That woman, when she reads that content, it's like, oh my God, she's talking to me. Like that's, how are you in my journal? Like we all want to go for that. Like, are you in my diary moment? And that's how you do it. And that's what soul copy is all about, is like stepping into your ideal client's lived experience and meeting them where they are in a way that's driven with empathy and compassion and like real true heart connection, so that ultimately they can use their program and change their life, because that's what we're all about, right? Like that's what we want to be doing.
That's really speaking to my soul. I just know, just with all the energy in my body, that is the way that I want to be in my business. And that's what I strive towards. And I know that that's really what is going to make a big difference to allow us the confidence to step into writing copy, knowing that we're not creating sleaze and we're not taking, swipe files, which are guilty in the past when I first started my business. Sure, if someone's going to offer a swipe file and say, oh, here's a welcome sequence, just take this and change a few words, not knowing any better, I'd be like, okay, sure, that's okay. And you can have some success using a swipe file if you have nothing else. But the next level, really moving into connected content and connecting with soul clients, is about really expressing yourself in your copy. And I love how you put that.
Expressing yourself and connecting with them, like speaking to their experience. You know, again, not like we said, not knocking swipe files. Like sometimes if you, especially when you're just starting out, it's better than nothing. But that definitely is, as you get clear on who you are and who you're working with, you know, these are some principles that can absolutely help you.
Yeah. And there are times where people feel even less confident about the copy. And I know that because you're a launch coach, you deal with this topic particularly. And yes, it's the launch and more broadly, overt selling. The fact that we've got a product and we are ready to take it to market, and we're at that critical moment where we really want to influence people and bring them into our funnels, onto our discovery calls, or onto our sales page, whatever that might look like. And convert them into clients, sometimes programs, sometimes one-to-one, whatever that might be. Yeah. But that moment is fraught with all this extra overthinking about how do I write a piece of launch copy or selling copy that's going to take someone on a journey that results in them buying without me saying, hello, please buy from me, with that kind of desperation that sometimes goes with that process.
Do you want this thing? I made it from my heart.
Yes,
do you want to buy it? I know.
I made it myself. Yeah, bless.
I know. Oh, it's so scary. So one of my favorite things to do inside of a launch, and again, I don't think enough entrepreneurs do this, is an easy prompt that you can use when you're thinking about your launch copy is, why hasn't what they've tried before worked? So what's unique and different about your approach and the way you do things? Why is that the answer? And why is what they've tried before it hasn't worked? So again, back to that example of the adrenal coach, you know, for her avatar has like tried Whole30. She's doing Orange Theory. Like she's reading all the books, right? But so she knows a lot about health and wellness, but what she doesn't know is about hormones. She hasn't done the hormone balancing. And so that is such a light bulb moment. And when you can give your ideal client that light bulb moment, because if you think about it, we're all trying to solve whatever problems we have, whatever struggles we have, whatever your ideal client is experiencing, she's tried to solve it before. Like we're all looking every day for answers, right? And so you have to assume that your person has tried multiple things and failed, or else she wouldn't be interested in what you're selling, or what she wouldn't be following you at all. So when we can, and with that comes self-blame, comes judgment, comes, feeling shitty about ourselves because, what's wrong with us? We haven't been able to fix this problem. And so when we can release our person from that self-blame and self-criticism with that answer of like, of course, what you have been trying hasn't worked because you didn't have this tool, you didn't have this thing that I'm going to show you. Oh my God, it is so, so powerful. And that again is not sleazy. It's not salesy. You're doing them a deep, deep service because you have the answers. You're the expert. And that is such a gift. And then even if say it's not the right time or whatever, you've done them a service because now she knows. Again, it's like, oh, maybe I did this webinar, with this hormone coach. And like, even though maybe it's like not the right time, I'm traveling, but now I know I have a better understanding of my problem. And it's like, oh, okay, it's my hormones. And actually that Orange Theory class that I've been killing myself at for 3 months is actually doing more damage to my hormones. So maybe I can let myself sleep it, right? It's like, oh, that coach gave that woman a gift. Like she let herself be easier on herself and gave her a breadcrumb that's going to help inform her journey, whether or not, that woman ever signs up to work with the hormone coach. I hope that example, I'm like, there's a lot of she's and hers in there. I hope I'm explaining that well. But, that's one of the most actionable pieces of content and copy advice that I can give in terms of launching, because It's so powerful.
That makes so much sense to me,
Yes.
because I went through an evolution that echoes exactly what you've described. And as you were saying, I'm like, aha, that's why. Because when I focus very much on helping people create unique brand messaging, I realized that a lot of the problems that coaches in their first few years have is not getting the clients, not feeling lit up, not being able to go live. I mean, the list, we're all familiar with some of the challenges.
Totally.
But for me, the answer is because you haven't got the foundations in place. You haven't got the clarity around your unique, differentiated point within your niche.
Right.
And once you have that, and pair it with your signature offer, boom, the clarity, the confidence, the clients all comes together. And actually, it's easy to then see why buying a course to learn how to grow your audience on Instagram or make great reels
totally doesn't work
is gonna kill you, because first of all, you don't know what you're saying because you haven't really got clarity on what your message is. So you're struggling to find the things that connect with your audience. And then at the end of
you don't know what you're selling. You don't know who you're talking to.
And then, you're feeling terrible because you spent $1,000 on this program that you thought was going to be the Holy Grail. You didn't even finish it. How many times have you been there, and you're like, I didn't implement it. And I feel really shitty about myself. Like I'm wasting money. I'm wasting time. Am I ever going to get there? And actually, you were just chasing the wrong answer to a specific problem.
The wrong problem.
So thank you for just, that was a light bulb moment, because I knew this to a degree, but the fact that it is a central point of what you would help someone through really just makes me know that.
I'm getting clear on that, thinking about like what you said was so powerful, but like sitting down before you even, when you're kind of ideating or thinking about your program, before you even go to write launch copy, I have my clients write down, like, what has your client tried before and why hasn't it worked? Because that is such a gold mine. If you can get even like 3 or 5 things, that's 3 to 5 emails that you can just boom, 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 and do people a real service.
That is gold, Natalie. I hope everyone listening is as excited as I am, because I was just like, that's gold. And if you said nothing else on this entire interview, I'd be leaving happy. But I do want to know more though. Now I've got you. And it's like, you talk a lot about magic in marketing.
Yeah.
And, clearly people have tried a lot of things before when they come to work with you.
Yeah.
And what is it that you would say? Obviously, you've just shared one big one, but in general, magic, what is that when it comes to writing copy and actually encouraging people to become super fans of yourself?
Oh, that's such a good question. I mean, so I have a big woo side, and one of the things I love, and another kind of reframe that we can use around marketing and copy specifically, is that I believe words are spells. Like when we're writing and when we're marketing our businesses, we are kind of weaving a web around us. Like if you think about your online business and like everything you're creating, it's kind of this own little world. And when you get really intentional, like everything we've been saying about getting clear on your message, getting clear on who you want to be, like stepping into your future self and really embodying like what it is you want to be creating for yourself in your life, why you're building this business in the first place, how you want to serve people, and you create your content and your copy intentionally in that way, that is magic. It just, it's a form of magic because you're creating yourself, you're giving your clients like a way to change their lives. It's all about, stepping into what's possible and like new futures, both for yourself and your ideal client. And so I think marketing is magic.
Wow. I mean, I'm just as woo-woo, and I see it all as energy. Yeah. And the way that you're describing that, I'm just thinking, when you weave those words, you're putting energy out in the world. So what is the energy that you're intending? How are you going to connect to your soul clients energetically? That's going to make them feel an amazing connection to you and really want to hear what you have to say, right?
And coming from, again, that place of like love and compassion and integrity, which I know sometimes when we get wobbly, it's like running a business can be stressful or, whatever, we want to make sales, but like the more we can remember that we're changing lives and we're here to change lives and coming from that space, people can absolutely feel that in your copy. So,
yeah. And I know that you have used the words transformational leader, I've spotted. And it's like, oh, I like that. Transformational leader.
Yeah.
Because when we're writing copy, it's too easy to just be in the I'm a coach selling my coaching package, which is, pretty uninspiring. And then suddenly,
Right.
if you think of yourself as an inspirational leader, someone that's going to make massive transformation, there's a real difference in the energy there.
Totally.
And how does that work in copy? Like, what's the difference in the way that someone would write if they're stuck in that, I got to sell a package versus I'm here to serve as the transformational leader that I am?
A lot of it has to do with embodiment and your come from. In my coach training, they talked a lot about your stance. So like, if you think about what your stance is your stance like, oh my God, I have to make sales. And if you can kind of imagine like moving your body around, like your stance of like, oh my God, I have to make sales and I'm putting out this post because I need money. That's one stance. Then just taking a step to the side and like someplace else in a room. And you're like, okay, my stance here is I'm a leader. I'm here to share a message. I'm here to change lives. I have this really amazing service and work to offer people. And I have to share it because I can't not, because that's what my soul is here to do. And I'm here, I'm going to write a piece of content or I'm going to write an email, and like, that's the stance we want. Right. So if you're feeling, like kind of grippy about it, I always tell my clients, like, get up, walk around the room, go outside, light some incense or smell an essential oil, like do something to change your state, and then put yourself in that stance of I'm a leader and I'm here to help people change their lives, which, that's one of the gifts we have as humans, is to be able to choose. Like, we can, no matter what, like your reality is, maybe you really do need to make sales, like great, but you can still always choose the energy that you're coming from.
And this is obviously something that's really close to your heart. And I'm just curious, Natalie, like, does this come from your own experience? Like, what happened that made you think that this is the way for you and made a big change and transformation in your life?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I have been doing online business in some form or another since 2013, which is almost 10 years, which is like really crazy to me. It makes me feel old. But it's been really long and winding. I did my very first life coach training back in 2013. I still had a corporate job. Then, a year or two went by. I quit my corporate job to go full-time in my business. I built a coaching business as, a transformational leader. I was helping very similar, like, helping women with their message and like getting visible and sharing, what they're here to share in their soul's purpose. But I ended up getting really, really sick. In 2019, I just completely burned out, and I had a program launch, and I did not know how to regulate my energy. I had really horrible boundaries. Like, it was a lot of like wounded healer stuff coming up. And I was in bed like for a month, and I had this really, really deep soul knowing. It just felt like, I remember telling my assistant at the time, I was like, I just feel tired, like in my soul. I just feel really tired. And I had this knowing, I was like, if I keep going the way that I'm going, I'm just gonna like run out of energy. Like, it was just, it wasn't this like, I'm gonna die. It was more just like, I'm just gonna have no more energy. And that, it was really scary, but was a big wake up call of like, okay, how I'm doing this is like really not sustainable. Yeah. So I completely shut down my business. I like let all my client contracts run out. Thankfully I had, the financial space to take, it was like almost 3 months completely off work. I was living in LA at the time. I was close to the beach. So I was just like going to the beach and like reading books and, not on social media. But I just like gave myself a lot of space to be like, okay, like what's next? And I even was thinking about like, okay, do I just like go back to the corporate world, like get a marketing job? And a friend of mine was like, well, you're such an excellent writer. Like, why don't you just do copy? And like, you can write for other coaches. And I was like, oh my God, like that's a thing. I didn't know that I could just write, I don't have to do this like deep soul, like transformational work. That sounds so much easier for me, at least. I know lots of people who are like, I would never touch writing with a 10-foot pole. But so within a month, I had as many clients as I could handle. And, I was working with multi 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs, like people who, you see their Facebook ads, their names, like really well known. And I realized that because I realized even me myself, I still had big marketing blocks, like, funnels and like stuff. And I realized that, what enabled these super high level successful entrepreneurs who were still coming from a very heart-centered place, like very in their integrity, doing a lot of good work in the world, they were using these kind of, more what we would call marketing tactics, but they were using it from this place. So it's like you have a hammer. You can either use the hammer to like kill somebody or you can like hammer a nail, right? So it's just a tool. And in the hands of the right people, it can really make a difference. So I became really passionate about kind of demystifying these kinds of copy principles and marketing principles because I have seen firsthand how powerful they are. And especially when we can transform our relationship to marketing from this fear of like being sleazy or like those people, then we can do so much more work in the world and like impact so many more people.
Oh, we share so many similarities about the heading down into burnout because I just hit that wall so fast in my business. And I didn't burn it to the ground because it was so new in my business that I could just stop and go, you know what, I'm going to retreat and I'm going to work this out because I want to build in integrity with my energy and all of those things. I don't live close to the beach in LA, but here in the suburb of London, we've got beautiful woods nearby where we live. So I spent about 6 months, I think, wandering through the woods, listening to beautiful podcasts, getting into energy modalities and like building it in integrity with really how I want to be filled it up every day. Totally. Right.
It's really, and it's still a question that like I'm living into, it's been almost 3 years. I finally got a diagnosis, like an actual diagnosis last fall. So it's, and then, so even healing is a journey, like building a business is a journey, healing can be a journey. It's like, and I feel so grateful. Like I've really seen firsthand, this is a kind of a good illustration. I'd always been really healthy and like, you can take that for granted, but when things are wrong and you don't know what it is, like, I didn't really feel like I wasn't going to go to a conventional doctor and be like, I feel exhausted all the time. Like, it's just not really a thing. And so I saw firsthand, like how powerful these breadcrumbs can be. And this kind of marketing of like, okay, you're trying all these things. It's not working. Maybe you're missing this piece. So like hormones was a piece of it. Gut health has been a piece of it. Energy healing has been a piece of it. And so really seeing firsthand, like if all these practitioners that I've been working with, if they weren't marketing, I wouldn't be able to find them and like solve my problem. Right. So it's been a really personal, I just have like I have a new appreciation for how important this is and how life-changing it can be. Because if you don't have answers, like you're just going to keep suffering. You're going to keep, staying in your problems. So, for us as like practitioners, it's like, we really have a responsibility to get visible and like share what we know so that people can find us. And I used to think that was kind of cliche and like, it's not cliche. Like people need to find you.
And someone listening right now really needed to hear that. Yeah. Someone, and maybe it's you, if you're listening.
I know, right?
is like holding back right now and knows that they haven't been putting copy out. They haven't been writing their social media posts. They haven't been mailing their list. They just haven't been putting it out there because they're all inside their own heads. They're all like, oh, it's all about me. And I don't know what to express. And I feel icky about selling it. But actually, when you put yourself in the position of the person that needs the help and I know that you're out there who knows that you can help. You're just stuck in your own head about actually expressing and articulating that. So even if you don't know where to start and you're not clear exactly about what to say, what Natalie's just said alone should be enough to shift your energy into saying, I am going to send out a piece of copy because someone out there really needs to hear this from me. And I'm acting in service for them rather than being worried about what it says about me.
100%. Get out of your own way. Just go do it.
And we're here on Goals with Soul. We are all about the soul, but we're also all about the action. We bring the two together. So with inspired action, we get results. And I would love to ask you, Natalie, to invite our listeners today to some piece or pieces of inspired action that they can take to really magicify their copy and make the difference for their business.
I love that. And I feel like you already said it. Like, just go write something, put yourself in the shoes of you as the transformational leader and imagine yourself like connecting heart to heart with your ideal client and just see what comes up, and don't overthink it, and just write a letter like to that ideal client. Like, what do they need to know right now from your heart? And go ahead and post it on whatever social media platform you decide. And you can always tag me because I would love to see it. So yeah.
That is beautiful. But I'm gonna push you just a little bit further for something really tactical as well. Because we learn about things like hooks and call to actions. So if someone's going to write from the heart and really take on board everything you've just said, but they want to give it just an extra oomph to make sure that it's really a good marketing email, is there one simple thing that they should bear in mind and include?
Yeah, absolutely. Have a call to action. So if you are someone who shies away from selling, maybe put a call to action to message you or DM you about working together. If you are someone who shies away from video, maybe do an Instagram story talking about your program. Some of my favorite calls to action are like, if this is you, send me a DM. How is this landing? Let me know. If you shy away from selling, just put that little sales thing on the end and then detach from the outcome. Like, maybe no one is going to message you and it doesn't matter.
Boom. Natalie has just nailed it. 3 things there that definitely speaking to me and so actionable as well. Thank you so much, Natalie. I really appreciate that.
Oh my God.
And if people would like to learn more about you, where can they find you online?
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram. I just opened a new account. It's Natalie Taggart. So, it's, and then my name. And then you can always find me on my website, natalietaggart.com.
Amazing. Just to say, Natalie, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an inspiration and a pleasure.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So fun talking to you.
And if you want to find those links, you're going to find them in the show notes too. So just drop in there and you can click to find out more about Natalie. Bye now. So much goodness in Natalie's information and her stories. Some of that stuff resonates incredibly deeply. Getting on top of having a unique solution, having a signature offer that solves a problem in your unique way is absolutely critical to making sure that you can write that copy with ease and connect magnetically. Put your energetics behind it. Really have intention when you share copy, when you send emails and write social media posts. Know that you're doing it in service and with love. Love that. So much strength in just knowing that you're going out there with a mission and not something that is hard and icky and something that you have to do. It's something you get to do to run your beautiful business. And most important of all, just do it. Don't wait any longer. Live your next level self life now. Get that copy out into the hands of the people that need it, into your future clients, imaginations and hearts. And if you are still at the stage where you're not quite sure what your signature offer is and actually how you show up, differentiate yourself and stand out in your niche, then I am here to help you with that. Just drop into my Instagram with the word connect and I will share with you the details how you can really craft and clarify your unique message and your signature offer. So until next time, have an inspired action week. Take care. Bye now.